Thank you very much and welcome to India, Mr. Bill Gates. It's your third visit in 3 years and, you're very fond of India. To be holding the 25th year anniversary Board of Trustees meeting in the Global South and choosing India as a destination. And in your blog, just before you came, you've also said India is a country of challenges, big challenges, but even bigger ambitions. What makes India tick for you?
Well, it's been fantastic to see the incredible progress in India during the life of the foundation. The partnerships we built here, both in actually delivering things like new vaccines, but also inventing things. The majority of all the world's low-cost vaccines are made by key foundation partners who we've worked with. And, that's not only saved millions of lives in India, it's saved millions of lives in other countries as well. And so as India continues to make progress, building unique things like the DPI with Aadhaar, we see continuing this partnership for another 25 years and continuing to take the great innovation here that we help support and making sure that it's benefiting the entire world.
But many people, Mr. Gates, talk about the fact that, in your blog, you've also called India a laboratory. Is it a laboratory where you test vaccines and some of your so-called, various ways in which you partner with India for the field of health, public health, as well as nutrition? Is it that, or is it a lab for innovations? How do you really describe it?
Well, it's all about innovation. There's nobody who's more careful about, making sure these vaccines are super safe. And, the Indian government has a great regulator that, helps guide us on all these things. So it's making, incredibly safe, beneficial products that we've seen the overwhelming impact of that. We started with the rotavirus vaccine, which existed, but it was very expensive. And so that was one where, Serum was our partner and, not only India, but so many countries adopted that.
Absolutely. Are you gung-ho on India because of the leadership here, the manner in which Global South was so important and showcased during the G20 meeting? What is it about India and Bill Gates that makes the chemistry so very important?
Well, even in my Microsoft days, I got to see the depth of talent here. Now Microsoft has so many great people from India, including Satya Nadella, who's doing a fantastic job. And so, when I started the foundation, I knew that in terms of improving children's lives, India would be a place we'd want to be active in partnership with the government and that innovative spirit. And it spread way beyond, everybody knows DPI, which is amazing and, being taken to many countries. Everybody knows the vaccines, but now it's going way beyond that in agriculture, artificial intelligence, diagnostics, particularly since the pandemic. I would say there's been an acceleration. The financing for entrepreneurs here has been very strong. Some of them are actually building on that DPI infrastructure. The ones that are successful are setting a good example of starting their philanthropy at actually a pretty young age. And so it's exciting to come here and see not only effective innovations, but that are done in such a clever way that the cost can be very, very low.
And AI, you talk about AI, technological innovations, which is something that, you're the pioneer of worldwide. So when you talk about these things, how do you see your philanthropy work in India specifically working on the basis of AI, do you see that's going to simplify things, that's going to make penetration of some of these big projects that you have in spreading public health? How do you see that happen?
Well, the AI, there'll be three big ways it'll get used. One is for farmers. I think with the kind of weather prediction that AI can provide and, taking all the pricing information, the soil information, presenting the various government credit programs, even a farmer with a very small piece of land should be able to get fantastic advice, and so that they'll be far more productive. Even areas like avoiding pests. A year ago I saw in Odisha an early system that was already providing benefits there. So using AI to help that farmer. Next is AI for healthcare delivery. If a pregnant woman has any questions about what the doctor told them or what best practices are, they should be able to talk to the AI in their local dialect, either typing or voice. And then finally, AI for the student, like the world's best tutor that's always motivating them and available 24 hours a day. So those are the three that we're going to try and advance quickly with partners here.
You've had multiple interactions with Prime Minister Modi. In the world that we live in, which has changed a lot since we met 6 months ago in September in New York, how do you see the direction of where India is going, where the world is going? We have wars, we have challenges, but there are opportunities. There is nervousness, edginess in the markets on tariff talks, etc. So how do you see Prime Minister Modi and India playing a role in all of this, and where do you see this going?
Well, the vision of getting India to be a fully developed country by 2047 is very impressive. And the fact that not only at the federal level, but at the state level, they're each looking at how do they drive that economic growth. There's no doubt that underneath that, health, not just survival, but also nutrition for full physical and mental development is going to be a key enabling factor. And so the things that the Gates Foundation specializes in, health, education, agriculture, the government has taken on a very ambitious set of goals. And so, we're able to come here and help. Often we'll fund the acquisition of technologies from outside of India and combine them with the great work going on here. And so, India's an ambitious and talented and stable place. And the resources going into the healthcare system or to help farmers or, to get serious about making schools even better, that aligns with our values very, very well.
How do you see the economy, across the world? There are significant engagements and a little bit of nervousness. How do you see that? Do you think it's going to have a long-term impact on other developmental issues? For example, climate change. Will these issues take a backseat while, the other stuff is settled?
Well, climate is a very important issue that I invest in, but I don't think we're going to meet our ambitious goals with the we've got unrest in the Middle East, we've got the war in Ukraine, and sadly that's diverting a lot of resources that should be going into the health issues to help Africa. It's diverting huge resources away from the aid or debt relief that I'd like to see. Despite that, because of the pace of innovation all over the world, I'm still very optimistic. I mean, the goals that the United Nations set, we won't hit all of those, but just look at child survival. We've come a long ways, and my view is that we'll be able to cut child deaths in half again. We'll be able to understand malnutrition. So, there's going to be some bumps in the road. But, overall, this is an exciting time, and India is such a great example of that.
Today is the big day when Sunita Williams has come back and her colleague. What would you say to them today? Big expedition the timelines went haywire, but today finally back on town. What would you say about the leaps that have been made in space technology?
Well, I'm certainly glad that she's safe, and I was amazed at how patient they were. They didn't seem to complain at all. So that's great. I'm very ground-based, person, but I would admit that some of the things we're going to do with satellites, like weather observation or, agricultural observation, that's really is benefiting us back here. And so, India, amongst its huge number of startups, some are doing cheap rockets or cheap satellites or cheap sensors. And so India's part of that game, will make a contribution. And then, for the Gates Foundation, it's okay, how do you help the people here by taking that data that, we never had in the past?
What do you think of the Indian Space Research Organization, ISRO, which has had several breakthroughs in the recent past? Do you think in terms of innovation and space technology, India started late, but do you see it as getting closer towards the big club at the top?
Well, there's lots of ways you can benchmark. I'm more on vaccines and diagnostics, but yes, India's making a contribution pretty much across the board, and you're seeing, India's gotten to a point where the research budgets are going up, and it's fantastic that now is a very affordable thing, and it'll supercharge. It'll help the universities, and there's some areas like nutrition that will be there as a partner. Solving issues that will have such an incredible impact.
Do you see democracies across the world getting noisier and noisier? India was always very noisy as far as its democracy is concerned. The United States now extremely noisy about its own politics and democracy, and a similar trend that you see across the world. Do you see this as a good thing, bad thing, or just a phase of time when we are seeing changes of these kinds?
Well, there's a lot of issues that if the world cooperates, we can make greater progress on. Climate change is an issue like that. Catching pandemics early and making sure they don't go global like COVID did, because that was such a damaging thing. And you could have a pandemic that's 10 times worse than COVID. The actual death rate, fortunately, turned out to be very modest. So, I'm always in favor of nations getting along. I know that's a little idealistic. I'm always pleased that India tries to get along with everyone. Since World War II, we've had a lot of cooperation. That's changing a little bit, but whether it's medicine or, helping with new technologies, making sure AI gets used in the right way, the kind of outreach between countries, I think, will be key there.
When did you decide to turn from tech wizard to a big company owner, foundation, philanthropist, to an author now? And now your biography, 3 books, I'm told. The first one is here. So where did this idea really come from, and what pushed you towards it?
Well, I've been so lucky, and I was blessed in so many ways. My mom and dad, each in their own way, were very amazing. The place I was born, where I got to see computers when I was young, and so I've always wanted to share the journey I went through, talk about some of the mistakes, how I developed, how I was an unusual kid, but my parents ended up doing the right things. A few years ago, I looked at writing a single book about my entire life, and I just didn't feel I was doing justice to topics like my parents. And so it was about 18 months ago, I decided, hey, why don't I just do a reasonably succinct volume that'll go through my first 25 years. And so this is what came out of it. I actually thought of the three phases of my life: the first 25 years, the Microsoft phase, and then the giving it all away philanthropy phase, that this would be the least interesting, but at least so far, it's done very well. People have been very nice about it. It's #1 on the bestseller list. So it's been a fun project, and I hope parents with unusual kids can learn from what worked for me.
Extremely motivating and also motivating for a new generation which has so many dreams and probably look at the way your life unfolded. When is the next part, the Microsoft part? How much of it have you written, and when is it expected to be out?
I've got kind of an outline, but it'll be at least 2 or 3 years. I don't want to overwhelm people. I want to give them time to absorb my first 25 years. And, the third chapter is still being written. We have such ambitious goals, nutrition, child to death, education. And so that'll be a strange one, because it's an ongoing story.
But that would be very interesting to know, because business, one part of it, but how do you convert the fruits of business into philanthropy would be interesting. So are you saying this is going to go on for about 7, 8 years or more?
If I get the next one done in 2 or 3 years and the next one kind of like that, yeah, probably another 5 or 6 years before I've finished it. And then, Are
you spending enough time writing and researching, or?
No, I put a lot of time into it. I, have researchers who helped me quite a bit. We looked up a lot of things, but I like to write. My job has always involved communicating. The only thing that was unique here was it was so personal, and, the idea of, okay, how open about, the flaws or the difficulties I had. But I tried to do that. That was completely new for me.
Many people would think somebody as successful as you, somebody who's so busy. I mean, your day would be totally chock-a-block full. What does somebody like you do to unwind? What does somebody like you do to? Do you ever feel like, I just want to take a day off and not meet anybody? Does that happen to you? Normal people have those.
Well, in my 20s, I worked all the time. No vacations, no weekends, and so as I've gotten older, had a family, I still work long hours, but not nearly like those early days. I get to play a lot of tennis, funny American game called pickleball, card game not many people play called bridge. I'm big on that. I read a lot. I watch a lot of movies. So I'm very lucky. Even when I travel, sometimes I get to take time off. Not on this trip, but on some of them.
Do you like to do touristy things when you're traveling?
Yeah, I like history. And so, understanding how things got invented or why various countries are strong in certain ways. I'm a student. Everything I do is, kind of being a student of the world.
And food, do you like Indian food?
I love Indian food. No, I'm, very happy when I'm here. Seattle, I wouldn't say is a mecca of Indian food. So, when I'm in New York or London or India, that's when I really get the best stuff.
And how does Bill Gates? Are you a regular granddad? Do you like to spend time with your grandchildren? Do you do some things? Do you babysit?
I have a 2-year-old granddaughter and now a 4-month-old. As my oldest granddaughter's gotten to be 2, she's a lot of fun. I can take her out, talk to her about a lot of things. I think I think, as kids get to be 4 or 6, it's going to be just so much fun to go on trips together and, relieve their parents, give them some time off. My granddaughters are in New York, so I get there a lot.
And do they ever tell you to do some granddad things with them, like play or maybe make them a nice dish? I'm the 2-year-old. Does she have any of those expectations out of you?
No, she knows I'm good at reading books. I don't do much cooking, so she never asked me to do that. But
and does your daughter tell you that I've had enough? Why don't you take over for the next 3 or 4 hours?
I haven't done that yet, but at older ages, I'll take them on trips, let them, see the world, so that I have that to look forward to.
What next for Bill Gates? Philanthropy, various parts of it and various aspects of it is there, but anything that you feel is something of a milestone that you still have to achieve?
Well, I have ambitious goals. There's things like polio eradication. India had the last case, 2011. Yeah, exactly. And, we're still not done. So that's a very high priority for me. Once we get polio, then we should look at measles and malaria. India's now gotten Kala-Azar down to a very, very low level. And that was something that we worked with the government on, and we're so excited that, the execution means that that problem is largely done with. So yes, in the health area, as long as kids are malnourished and, kids are dying in poor countries at a higher rate, I still have a lot to do, and, hopefully I have something like 20 more years to work on it.
May you have much more than that, because clearly in the field of philanthropy, there's always space for more. And we look forward to more engagement that you can have with India and Indians. And we look forward to having you back. It's an annual pilgrimage, it seems like. Hopefully back here next year again.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bill Gates.
All right.
It's been a pleasure talking to you, and more fun with your grandchildren and more fun with tennis and pickleball.
Thank you.